Welcome to the Veterans in Politics Talk Show. Join us every Wednesday night at 6 p.m. Pacific Time, live stream on Facebook. Folks, we're back. This is Steve Sanchez, Stephanie Phillips with another episode of Veterans in Politics. Today we have Dawrin Mota. This is going to be a good one. He's going to be talking about, he's a military veteran, first of all, and he was charged with open murder, claiming self-defense. But before we get to Mr. Mota, Ms. Phillips.
Thanks for joining us, everybody, and thank you to our sponsors. We have Jill Douglas. She's running for Assembly District 37. Her website is jilldouglas.com, jilldouglas.com. And we also have Henderson's Mayor, Michelle Romero. She's running for re-election. Her website is votemichelleromero.com, votemichelleromero.com. And we also have Judge Jennifer Schwartz, and she's running for re-election for Department 17. Her website is judgeschwartz.com, judgeschwartz.com. Also, don't forget to grab your copy of Steve's book, How to Navigate Nevada's Family Court System. If you are a litigant and you don't have an attorney and can't afford one, jump on Amazon and grab a copy of this book. It is $14.99 and it is a self-help book, and it will help you navigate that system. Also, we have a merch store. It's vipimerch.com, vipimerch.com. There's all kinds of fun things on there for you to check out. And if you are a candidate, have a business or a nonprofit, and you want to advertise with a yard sign like these do, get in touch with me and we will get you all set up for that. I think we have maybe after August 4 spots left or 3. We have quite a lengthy show today, so I'll cut the rant short. But I just wanted to talk about Judge Jennifer Schwartz real quick, because there has been a lot in the media and a lot of comments online. And this is the story where Devin Heath was killed, and he was a teenage boy. He was killed, and Judge Schwartz had issued the sentence, which was probation for the guy that he's actually a boy too. He was young too, for the gentleman that killed him. And it was a terrible accident, absolutely awful. But I just want to bring a couple things to your attention. The news media likes to gaslight the public and put headlines in there, such as Channel 8, 8 News Now, put in that this kid was drag racing. Well, he wasn't drag racing, and there was no evidence of that. And the DA didn't charge him with drag racing, and that is a crime in and of itself. So the media likes to, fire up the public, and I've seen some terrible comments. And when I saw this come out, I called Judge Schwartz and talked with her, and she's open about it, and she's actually going to come on our show and talk. So if you have questions, comments, when we have her on next week, you can put them in the comments. But she's open about it. And sometimes these judges have, there's no winning in this. Nothing is going to bring that poor boy back. And but the legislature has given, for this type of a crime, has given probation up to, I think the prison sentence was 4 or 5 years. And it's up to the judge and their discretion on what they choose. So sometimes if the public is so outraged by a decision, then maybe these laws need to change. Maybe you need to get involved in the legislature and have probation taken off the table for something like this if you are so passionate about it. She is getting terrible, terrible, hateful comments. I understand the anger, and she's a mom too. And I'm sure looking at this kid in court, that's another thing that the public is not, they don't see. They don't see the remorse, and they don't see the shaking and the kid, the defendant in court. They don't see the parents of the deceased boy. There's a lot of factors and a lot of things that go on in these courtrooms. And this is just a terrible, terrible accident, and it was horrible. But sometimes we need to put ourselves in the judge's shoes for a moment and think about the tough decisions that they have to make, and make within those parameters in the law that they are given. So, but we will have her on next week, and you guys can weigh in, and she can talk about it herself. So we think she is a great judge, and yes, she is up for re-election, and she makes decisions every single day that are tough. In fact, that same day there were a couple of sentences that she sentenced people to prison. So it's just a sad story all the way around.
Well, thank you for that.
Mm-hmm.
Judge Shorts, we got your back. Mr. Mota.
Yes, sir.
How you doing today?
Living the dream now.
Well, thank you so much for coming on the program. Could you give us a bio about yourself?
Sure. So I'm Dawrin Mota. I was an educator out here for on and off about 15 years. I'll start off with Nevada because it's the most
Start at the
recent.
beginning. Where are you? You born and raised here?
No, I was born in the Bronx, New York. Like most
I was raised in
Dominicans.
the Bronx.
There you
Yeah, like most Dominicans, right? There's more Dominicans in the Bronx and Washington Heights than there is on the island. So I still have family out there in Manhattan, the Heights, and I moved out here when I was about 9 years old. Went to elementary school out here, high school, graduated from Valley, left for the military after graduating from high school.
What branch?
Army.
Okay.
Like, oh,
Ooh,
the
yeah.
show's over now.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so I was stationed in Kansas. I went to basic at Fort Knox. And then after serving on active duty, came back to Nevada, got a bachelor's degree in hotel management and military science, and also got 2 master's degrees, one in elementary school education, another one in public administration, and worked as a teacher for a long time. Had a couple of other
What
little...
did you teach?
So I taught at the College of Southern Nevada. I was
Okay.
a junior administrator. I also did adult education, helping people with remedial math, reading, science. So it could be a combination of people trying to learn the language, people trying to get to Math 124, etc. I also taught at Bailey Middle School, Elizondo.
You went from
Several.
college to middle school?
I did both concurrently.
Oh,
So
wow.
one of the things you'll know about me is I'm definitely one of those people who pulls himself up by their bootstraps. So it was rewarding to teach, and I loved it. There was also a financial incentive too. So it was also nice to being able to do both at the same time, make that extra money and help. So I would literally teach from sometimes 7 a.m. with the night classes for adult ed to like 9 o'clock at night.
What years were you in the Bronx?
This would be 86 through 92 or something like that. And I've gone back to visit.
I was already gone by then.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. What motivated you to join the military?
So I do truly love America. And I felt as though everything that America had done for my family and everything that it's given me, I felt like I owed a debt. And at the time, I didn't want to stay in Vegas. I wanted to do something different. My sister was dating somebody at the time who was a Green Beret, and he would always talk to me about that idea of earning your way. And it was good, and I needed it. I should have done 20 years. I love the Army. I love the discipline. I loved the idea that you earn everything. Because even like going through basic or going in my unit, there was a big notion that I'll never ask you to do something that I haven't done myself. That was big, you know.
That was one of my regrets as well.
Yeah.
Not doing the full 20.
Yeah, so I love that. My commanders were awesome. A lot of them were in law enforcement out here. My company commander was in law enforcement out in Arizona. He taught me a lot. And just about life.
Right.
You know, it's not like a regular job where you clock out and everyone kind of goes their own way. You literally are like inspecting your soldiers' feet. You're literally asking about their marriage and how they're getting along. And there's nothing that's off limits. And I needed that at a young age. I needed somebody to be like, hey, what are you doing? You know, dude, you know, even like managing money. I remember when I bought my first car, one of my other Cap Scout buddies went with me. And even him asking about like the interest rate and APR and how long the loan was for, blah, 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 was helpful. It's like the family I never had.
They should teach that in school, by the way.
Yeah, so they do have like personal finance.
Oh,
And
they
I've
do?
always been, I disagree with the fact that they rate the personal finance like below trigonometry and calculus because of like the
An
numeracy.
elective?
I believe now it's required. I just
was
feel
gonna say
that
it should be required. Yeah.
yeah, because like
Yeah.
for example, in the school setting, there's this thing called an authentic assessment, and that's where instead of learning random formulas, they would say, all right, you're going to measure this room and see if it's up to fire code. And if you're right, then it's within fire code. And if you're wrong, then maybe the building isn't within fire code. And it's more realistic instead of just kind of looking at a piece of paper, taking a test. So I wish personal finance was more like that. And maybe there are classrooms that are doing it more like that now, but more like, okay, you took out a payday loan, things that people do, or like you have a 72-month loan on this car and your APR is, 26% or something crazy, and you're financing a warranty. And now the warranty and your interest is actually more than the car's worth, that kind of thing. So actually, I love that about teaching. That's what I loved about CSN. What I loved about being in the education space is those moments, that data conversation, talking to parents, the mom who has 2 jobs and is trying to figure out how to get her son on grade level, or the adult who came from Cuba and was a nurse or a doctor and now is trying to become like a nurse practitioner or a physician assistant and is like, I need to learn
Downgrade, huh?
the funny thing is in America, you have that opportunity. And it's interesting when someone's really going through it, like, okay, well, I'm a porter at the Suncoast or something. All right, great. Well, you got to take this test and you got to figure out how to do that, raise your kids and be at the Suncoast and come with me for 4 hours till 9 o'clock at night. So that was, rewarding. And I believe I was a decent soldier. I served in the 355th Chemical Company, and I did some things that were interesting. I did get my name in the paper at Fort Knox, and I did help do some anti-terrorism things here. But I was a remarkable teacher.
What was your MOS while you were in?
19 Delta Cav Scout. Scouts out.
Scout what?
Cavalry Scout.
Oh, cavalry. Okay. Oh, wow.
Yeah,
so it's like in heavy artillery. Is it?
So there are heavy.
Artillery.
Yeah, there are heavy, right? So you have people that are in Bradleys and Strikers,
Right.
and then you have light that are like in Humvees or on foot. So I was light.
I like the Bradleys, but
Yeah, the Bradleys are awesome. Yeah, get away from the elements and things like that.
Please continue.
Yeah, so that's my thing about the teaching that I miss the most is that human interaction, being able to plan for something that's real, right? Like, okay, realistically, you may not get this sleep and you do have to learn the language and it is going to be a sacrifice, but think about all this socioeconomic movement you're doing.
Any countries you've been to?
I've been to Puerto Rico.
This is while being in the military, by the way.
Oh, while being in that?
Yeah.
So because of the whole situation that's brought me here and promoting my company, I don't want to get too much into that side of it because I don't want that to play in something that comes back to bite me later.
Okay.
Yeah.
There was something else I wanted to ask you about the military. How was your basic training? What type of training did you go through while you were in the military?
So in basic, we did something called OSET, One Station Unit Training. So there's no difference between basic and like your individual training. And I loved it. I loved not only be able to get in shape, but there's a lot of like life consequences. Like, hey, if everyone's going to take one thing of ketchup or something, and you get one guy who's like, I'm going to take 2 things of ketchup. Now nobody eats. I love that. The mass punishment in the beginning, at least, was rewarding because you learn to be accountable and you also learn to listen. There's heavy consequences for listening, for not listening. And when I got to my unit, it was like that even more so. So I definitely got, I don't know if the viewers would know, smoked. I don't know if you use that in the Corps, you get smoked, which basically you do push-ups, you get, so in my unit, it was that. Yeah, physical training. So at my unit, it was like that even more. But again, I did enjoy it. Like we had somebody who I think forgot his rucksack or something, and they would give you like a box of rocks. And they're like, you're going to keep these box of rocks until you learn to be accountable for your equipment or whatever. And they started putting the ideas of like going to college in my head. And then also just being a man, honestly, like doing what you say, earning things, which was a big deal to me. So nothing is given, everything is earned. You earn the right to have an opinion. You learn when things are not your lane. You also taught me to read. And I don't mean obviously like literacy. I mean more in the idea of like adapting those things to my life. So I use that a lot in my business now, where it's not just, okay, well, here's the op order and everyone kind of does their own thing. You really have to think about, well, are we getting eyes on, or are we doing this, you know? And I love that. I spent some time also in ROTC. I did about 4 years of that.
How about in combat?
What's that?
Did you serve in combat or combat theater?
So those are the kind of things
you don't want to talk about?
Yeah, because
Okay.
I don't want to, yeah.
I'm sure
But
you know,
I'll tell
I'm
you.
sure you know why I was asking those questions.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So here's one thing I will say, because I feel like it's appropriate for your audience and protects my situation as well. So when I did the reserves, we had an anti-terrorism unit that was focused on chemical and biological weapons. So I did go to a bunch of schools. Some of those schools I can't get into,
Right.
but that was also rewarding.
Okay.
So we helped coordinate training between what the federal government does and what the county does to a chemical attack. So I got to work with like Clark County's hazmat team, and looking at decon. I got to work with the civil support team and doing that. And a lot of that is public, which I like, because then no one's gonna ask me about my DD-215 or
14.
well, 15 is like, for us at least, it was like the way where for like combat operations and confirmed activities and things like that. So the DD-214.
I thought they put all that on the DD-214.
So when I got out, I did see that it was different. Yeah. No. The paperwork's important, because the DD-214 really summarizes like your time in. But to my understanding, they give you this other form, DD-215, that summarizes like other operations.
And
Yeah.
what do you do now? I see on your shirt, that's your company.
So
is that right?
I own a business. Obviously, because of what happened, I wasn't going to be in the classroom anymore. So we work on vehicles, and we do roadside and help people with issues they have with their vehicles, whether that be the common mechanic issues, all the way down to issues with warranties and dealership issues and pre-purchase inspections and things like that. So it still kind of scratches that itch of
Any employees?
being active.
You have employees?
Indirectly and indirectly, both. Like, what I mean by that is like contractors and people on paper, between 7 and 15.
Okay, very good.
So sometimes I'll take the vehicle over to another company. Sometimes I work on it directly.
Kids, married?
I do. I have 3 kids, and I've been married.
Okay.
And I'm married now. Obviously, with this whole situation, I was divorced with that person, and that's something I'm glad I get this platform to kind of clear up. I've been married now and together with my wife probably longer than I was with my ex-wife, and that's something that was never reported. You know, so and she supports me in this business. So she's answering phones, she's driving, and
you're in the quick emergency roadside business.
correct. And a lot of it kind of reminds me of like doing certain things in the military, because I'll go to the mountains or something because someone gets stranded, and they literally just drop me off, and I figure everything out. So do we need to pass power to the starter? Do we need to get this person food? How are we going to move this vehicle, etc. And it's very reminiscent of that. And it's funny because I'll get those moments where I realize not everybody understands that, because they're like, you just want us to drop you off. I'm like, yeah, I'll take care of it. Just drop me off. It's literally what I did as a scout. You watch a mountain, you look for the bad guys who's making the IEDs. So I'm like, yeah, just drop me off in the mountains. Give me a backpack, I'll figure it out. And then I end up getting the vehicle started. I coordinate getting it back to them. And then the human side of the customer. Do you want to get back to California? We're at the mercy of who's open. AutoZone's open 24 hours. Shout out to AutoZone. But they sometimes have a limit on what they can do and what they have. And that is also very rewarding, because you find people in, again, difficult situations, and you're there trying to help them, and I try to be funny and work them through it.
Okay.
Yeah.
You have a very long story here
Yes, ma'am.
of what has happened. So, and I want the audience to be able to follow, chronologically what has happened. So, you were previously married, you had 3 kids, and you since have divorced. And your kids are 12 to 14, 10 to 14.
12 to 14.
Okay.
Or actually, no, I'm sorry, 15 and a half. One of them is going to be getting his license
Okay. Oh, wow.
permit at least pretty soon.
So you had an encounter with her then husband. She got remarried, you got remarried, right? And it went terrible that day. So can you start with what happened on that day, and then we can get into his background and then the car thing and just different.
Yeah, so
we'll go down that road.
Before you say that, you have an attorney, correct?
Correct. So
Okay.
there's some things that I can't get into,
Okay.
but the beauty of it is that I've had 5 articles published about me and over 5 million views of those articles. So what I can do without adding new evidence per se and not violating my protected strategy is kind of correct the record.
Yeah.
And there's an extensive record that already claims to have timelines, that already claims to know what has happened, who did what.
Now, did the media do the same thing to you, like in what I was talking about in my rant, where they just put these headlines up there and then it gaslights everybody and nobody does any research, really? They don't dig down deeper to see what really happened. Did that happen to you too?
Yes, ma'am. So it
Okay.
literally, one of the reports.
And before you continue,
We just want the audience
did you inform your attorney that you're coming on the show?
Yes, sir.
Could you mention
Could
you mention your attorney's name or no?
I have several attorneys, probably longer than the show.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But they know you're on here. They know that, and it's
Correct.
And it's good.
I literally have emailed them. I have reports. In fact, if we're getting into a timeline, I love to put out what Vegas Legal Magazine was going to put out. That probably would answer some of your questions. I'm not saying I endorse everything that's written, but I think it's a good way to, for me to comment, not necessarily adding something new, but adding context.
And for the audience, just so you know, he was in a self-defense situation where the deceased, he was shot and he died, and it was self-defense. But they have charged him criminally with open murder. He is on bail until your trial, which is next year. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So that's the short version of it. So we're going to get into that and see how that happened.
And before you get into that, the deceased is your ex-wife's current husband, correct?
He was.
Was correct.
Okay.
She's now with somebody else.
And they also mentioned in the paper that you left the scene as well.
So here's the interesting thing.
Let's get all into it from where.
Yeah. So
start that day.
okay. So I'll read this because I think it helps with that, because I don't want to provide it, but I do want to correct that. I actually called the cops, and that was also reported. I called the cops, and that call is all available for anybody who'd like to find it. Don't take my word for it. One of the things that I did in that was I asked for medical for him, and I asked for medical for me. So there was no fleeing the scene in terms of like, oh, what happened?
Were you there when the cops showed up? Maybe that might be the better question.
No, and I think when you get to the record, what's published, you'll probably understand why.
Now, could you start at the beginning of that?
Yeah,
whole-
so I'd like to go with what's published just so that it
Gotcha.
respects the integrity of it. I also want to give a shout out to the United States Concealed Carry, because I obviously was a huge proponent of the Second Amendment. They are the ones that are helping me and funding my defense. And if it wasn't for them, I wouldn't be in this situation. And what I mean by that is being here. No, I mean like being able to be here, being able to run my company, talk about my company here, promote the company. I would be in a much different situation.
To all CCW holders out there, listen to this story, because he had insurance, and that has really done a lot for you.
It's been a life change.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
so
go ahead.
this was from Vegas Legal Magazine.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Again, so this was by Mark Fierro, and I'm going to read the title and then we can react to it. It pieces together other things that are already published. I would encourage anybody to look up what's on the news. You can draw your own conclusions after this. So this is the killing veteran versus gang member in America illegally. The veteran faces the possibility of life in prison. Dawrin Mota, teacher, professor, landlord, veteran of the U.S. Army Cavalry, may be on his way to prison for the rest of his life. There's no question about one thing. On the evening of June 12, 2023, Mota shot and killed Oscar Ramirez. Ramirez put in time in a very different service. He was a gang member of the Sureños. The Sureños are affiliated with the Mexican Mafia, one of the most powerful prison gangs in the United States and Mexico. Ramirez, the gangbanger, had suffered a long list of arrests and convictions, including leaving the scene of an accident involving death or personal injury, duty to give information and render aid, operating a motor vehicle without a driver's license, no insurance, any kind of security, open container in a vehicle, DUI with prior felony, failure to restrain an animal, prior probation violations, and resisting a police officer. He had a habit of ignoring court-issued bench warrants, blowing off Clark County District Court judges. Not only was Ramirez deported as an undesirable in the U.S. illegally, he re-entered the United States illegally. Though he married a Clark County school administrator, he had no proof of legal income. 4 years. We know several of the details surrounding the case because at this time, my firm is working for the defense team. Right? So this is following the shooting. Metro Police officials made public releases to the media, which were incredibly misleading about Mota's case. They made it sound like Mota was a jealous ex-husband. Police made it sound like Mota was a scorned lover who was going to kill his ex-wife's new husband. The truth is, Dawrin Mota had been remarried for years. He had a happy life with 3 kids of his own and a blended family with his new wife and her 3 children. Mota was an elementary school teacher during the day and a professor at CSN at night. The man was a dynamo. He was going for his 2nd master's in teaching, as well as owning multiple rental properties. He had his kids, his new wife had children. This was a happy, hard-working home when 246-pound Ramirez, a man officials described as barrel-chested, who police records show had a history of violence, attacked Mota. The police made it sound like it was about money. Gang member Ramirez and Mota's ex-wife owed Dawrin as much as $1,200 in back mortgage payments and never confronted them or threatened them. Mota never confronted them or threatened them. He wrote them, advised them to sell the house because Ramirez showed no legal income. Mota never attacked them over $12,000 in back mortgage payments and potentially destroying his credit. But Metro releases to the media would have you believe that Mota, the school teacher, attacked Ramirez, the gang member, over $100.
Wow.
This is how the deadly confrontation began. And this is, again, according to Mr. Mark Fierro. Ramirez borrowed $100 from Mota's 12-year-old son's birthday money. Mota simply asked for his son to be paid back that same day or the next morning. Ramirez, sounding very much like the tough guy gang member, in broken English, texts Mota back, "Is me." And Mota would be my son, Mateo Mota, not me personally. "Is me, Oscar. Tell us, Dad, I said fuck him." Mota, following advice that 911 operators had given him to try to work it out, goes over to the home he owns with his ex-wife, just like police told him to do, not to confront him, but to work it out. Mota has a bulletproof vest. It's in the trunk. He has a vest because Mota's a landlord, and landlords keep getting killed in Las Vegas. This guy's a veteran. Why would he put a potentially life-saving bulletproof vest in the trunk of his car if he planned to get into a gunfight with an admitted gang member? Mota is wearing flip-flops. Ever hear of a trained U.S. Army veteran going into a gunfight, even a fist fight, with flip-flops?
That's what I wear, right? Combat boots.
So, Mark Fierro's words, right? Mota never gets to the house. When he's 2 houses away, he slams on his brakes. As a result of that noise of skidding tires, neighbors look out their windows. The reason Mota stops so suddenly is because he sees Ramirez running down the street towards him with a German Shepherd. Ramirez looks like he's looking for a fight. Ramirez runs about 70 feet when he reaches Mota's car window. He throws open the driver's door, climbs into the driver's seat. Mota withdraws to the passenger seat. We know that because of witness statements, those witnesses who were alerted by the sound of skidding tires. The mother of one of the witnesses says this on a police body cam. Mr. Fierro, I've seen the video, his words. With no further place to withdraw, with the powerfully built 246-pound Ramirez overpowering him, Ramirez starts beating Mota, possibly breaking his own hand. The veteran shoots once. The witnesses say they saw the gang member withdrawing from the car when he drops to the ground and dies at the scene. So like we wrote at the top, they want to put all of my information out there. Okay, so I'll read this. This might be a little bit of notes, but I think it's relevant. So like we wrote at the top, they want to put Dawrin Mota, the U.S. Army veteran, in prison for the rest of his life until the day he dies for protecting himself against a member of one of the most feared Mexican gangs in America. Let me tell you something. Mota had concealed weapons insurance because he is a landlord. If it wasn't for that insurance, police and the DA would have kept him in a 6-by-9-foot cell for the last 2.5 years awaiting trial. But that insurance bailed him out. That insurance paid a nationally recognized law firm to protect that veteran. If it wasn't for that insurance, Mota's chances of going to prison with a public defender and no forensic expert, no one to help, locked up with his family, left penniless. The veteran's chances of going to prison for the rest of his life would have been pretty damn close to 100%. The case is awaiting trial.
That is so important to have that. And you're going to trial in April next year, is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So when you were in the car, obviously you felt like your life was threatened. And he was in the car. Where was the dog? Was he right there with him? Because he's previously, didn't reports say he previously has used his dog as a weapon?
I actually, there are reports of that. I'm not sure if we can bring that up in this format, but he does have a criminal record for failing to restrain an animal and also got a bench warrant for that and did time. You make of that whatever you will. Just a fact, connect the dots.
Well, and a dog like that, if somebody was coming in my car and had a dog like that in tow, I would definitely feel like my life was in danger.
Anybody who's able to pull up my story, I told exactly how I felt to the 911 operator. And it is very much along those lines. I don't want to misquote myself because it has been 4 years. And, now running the business and building a life and being able to talk about the business and promote that here. I don't want to take away from my protected strategy, but there's bits and pieces of things that are published that are somewhat accurate. I like to correct the record in that I never sent anybody any messages. I am married. This wasn't a random house. Nobody was found. I cooperated. I called. I do those things. I'm not anti-immigrant, right? I have immigrants in my family. I speak Spanish. I love being an American. I love my Dominican roots. I am not of that cloth, right? I'm also the kind of person who considers himself practical, reasonable, and I don't understand how with these things that have been reported, why he was back in the country.
So do you know how long he had been in the country illegally?
Good question.
But had he not been here, none of this would have happened had he not come into the country illegally, right? That's why, the illegal alien subject in this country and our border and, all what happened in the last administration, which that's when this was in 23, right? And prior to that.
So I will say this. I definitely watch a lot of political programming, and I'll watch something like Jubilee, or I'll watch some other people debate. And whenever somebody says something like, we don't know who's in the country, so how can you say these people don't commit crimes? Or we don't know if that's the only crime this person has committed because they don't have a social, or we don't know about the social. And I've seen people be laughed at that. Like it's almost like a tinfoil hat type theory. Like, okay, whatever. But the reality is that is legitimate. So in this situation, for what the reports say, it is hard to say that this is the only thing he's done. It is hard to say that this is the only alias. And I don't know how he got in the country. I don't see our president, Mr. Trump, giving him any kind of amnesty, giving him any kind of asylum. In the deportation order, one of the things that's mentioned is domestic violence. And then he absconded from the police for 7 to 8 months. I mean, we've had the lowest net migration in the last like 50 years. I just don't see this administration saying, let's get this guy in the pathway to citizenship.
Yeah.
Let's get this guy his residency. And I would advocate that people should be very careful when they want to paint the idea of being skeptical about people's backgrounds in terms of if they really are them and if this is a real issue. I would caution them that you shouldn't brush that off. Oh, we know who he is. He was in jail. We have his information. You can have an alias. You can be deported and come back. And I've sometimes when I watch that, it just surprises me because of how easily that's brushed off. Oh, they did a study. Okay.
He could have used a different name, got a different passport. I mean, I'm sure that happens all the time with people. I mean, we saw in the last administration how many millions and millions came into our country, just walked in.
According to reports, he was on felony probation for hitting someone, either leaving them to die, just like Mr. Fierro had reported. He was on felony probation and picked up domestic violence charges and was convicted of that, and then ran for 7 to 8 months, and then was reinstated back on probation.
I want to go back to that day. So paint a picture. You're in your vehicle, you're driving, and what, he followed you?
So what's published, and I can comment on that, is him running towards the vehicle.
You were at a stoplight, you were waiting for someone? What were you
I
doing?
hit the brakes for that very reason. And that's also published. Nothing new information. That's literally, I have the copies of it.
You were at his house?
My house.
You're at your house, and you're in your vehicle. You're leaving your house?
Well, when my goal, without getting into the case, because I can't, I don't want to litigate the case on your show because of obvious reasons. My goal at that point was to try to figure out what's going on, right? So when I drove over there,
Drove over where?
To my second house, because I have a few homes.
Mm-hmm.
So when I drove over there, my goal wasn't to do anything other than just try to, figure out what's going on with the money, get the money back. As Mr. Fierro stated, they've, owed me money before, way more than that. And we've talked it out. I have also called the cops, but I can't get too much into it. So
I'm gonna call him the perpetrator, okay, for this show. So the perpetrator followed you?
So he came to the vehicle. So just like Mr. Fierro
How
stated.
did he come to the vehicle?
Running. And that's
Was he driving before he started to run? You just saw him running. Did you see him running with the dog? Because it was a German Shepherd.
I can even pull up the record.
Okay. No. That's good.
Because I don't want to contradict what's already been read.
Okay. So is that him?
No, that's me.
Oh.
Oh, if you want to see him.
Let me see him.
This is what. So this is maybe, again, these are published reports. This is the photo that was on my son's phone.
See
It's
that?
blurry.
You'll have to see.
So he ran up.
So if I were to replicate that, this is what he has on my son's phone. Who's 8, by the way, at the time.
Okay. And what does that mean exactly? Is that a gang sign?
I would say that for someone who's done time, you don't hold this up and you've been deported. This isn't something that I would say is. I wouldn't say this is like a Bible verse or something that he's referring to and praying.
Not a Bible verse.
That's what he has.
Don't ask me how I know that. So he was running up on you. You're in your vehicle. He's running up on you with the dog. Did you know this guy's history before he started running up on you?
I can't get into all of it. Yeah, that's what I mean. Like with that, this is what I love about the things that are published.
Well, he was married to the mother of his children.
I know.
So
I know.
Yeah. So and so again, with everything that's published.
So I say you know the guy's background. You know his history, right? And that's what I'm gonna assume that because he's married.
Assume that.
I am assuming that.
So here's one of the backgrounds.
Okay.
So again, if you have this, I just don't see why you would throw up anything. I don't see why you would use that as a screensaver.
Okay. Show it to Ms. Phillips. So you're in your vehicle. The windows are up. The doors are locked. you got your engine on?
So one thing that I'm sure most people know, put your vehicle in park, it unlocks.
Okay.
But again, I really can't get too much into that. So I because of everything that's going on, I can reference what's published.
You could just stop me where you feel uncomfortable, because
I don't want to paint a narrative now that ends up getting misconstrued later.
Right.
I love sticking to what's published.
right,
I love
stick to
sticking to what's so.
to that.
I can talk about how scared I was. I can talk about my feelings.
I want to get it all into that.
But I don't want to get into like timings. I don't want to
Okay.
rebuild the time frame. If something's published and then you want to ask about the accuracy of something that's published, I can comment on that. But I can't build a time by time timeline. And
That's your attorney's job.
So
I don't want to get
At
into
time
that.
of trial,
I won't get
he'll
into
do that.
So he's running towards.
That's what I mean, like that kind of stuff. I can't, brother. I can't reframe the whole thing.
You stopped your car. You said you hit the brakes.
I did.
Oh.
So, but that's what I mean. So anybody, this has been covered by 6 different articles. 5 million people have seen it. They can go and they can look at my
questions.
Let
me address the questions. Let me address the questions.
Because I don't get an opportunity to speak my side.
Okay.
I don't get an opportunity to correct
You just tell me what you could speak about,
If
because
it's anything with the timeline, I'm not going to speak about it. If it's anything with like that's going to go into litigating the case, I can't.
okay, so you hit your brakes, you saw him coming.
That's what I mean, like that kind of stuff. I can't do that. People can read the case.
Did you feel that your life was in danger when you? I mean, were you scared because you didn't hit your brakes? So you weren't. Were you scared when you hit your brakes? Why did you hit your brakes?
I was scared the entire time.
Why did you hit your brakes though? Why did
I
you?
don't want to run anybody over
But you said you saw him, and then you hit your brakes.
because he runs towards the car.
Oh, he
all
was running
published.
towards you,
That's all.
and you
published.
hit your brakes. Okay, so you didn't want to hit him, and then he comes over to the vehicle.
That's all published as well.
Okay.
And there's 2 witnesses that have never been asked.
Where was this at, anyways? Where was this at?
This is at one of the other homes.
Oh, what's the major
I
cross
can't
street?
do that.
Okay.
That would even get you guys in trouble. I can't do that.
Oh no, you wouldn't get us in trouble for that, believe me.
I don't know. If somebody goes over there and says, I saw this, and they confront
He
them.
doesn't mean the address. He just.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
I just mean 215 in Flamingo,
No.
Green Valley and Sunset.
If somebody was really curious, though, all of that was published.
Oh well, you said you could talk about publish. So where was it?
But like, I'd rather use their words. Like, so for example, I don't know if it was Channel 8 or the Las Vegas Review Journal, there was one of them that actually ended up publishing a lot of that. And I can encourage the viewers to do that research. Don't take anything that I'm saying on its own.
Mhm.
So if we were to look at it, the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department says a man was arrested after he was accused of shooting his ex-wife's current husband to death in the Northwest Valley. And again, this was reported, Las Vegas policeman accused of shooting ex-wife's current husband. This was Fox 5 Vegas. Monday in the 7900 block of Pinocchio Avenue, near Cimarron and Elkhorn Roads. That's published. Not my opinion,
That's not far from
not my interpretation. Published, seen by millions of people.
He's running towards you.
But
Though.
I can't get into that, man.
Okay.
We know.
I'm stubborn.
We
Did-
know
did-
what happened.
Yeah, you literally could. You could read it. You wanna know?
No.
Because I'm not going to give it to you in my own words.
Because if I read it, I wouldn't need you.
You do need me because this isn't accurate for everything.
Okay.
Right? So this is what actually is published. And
All
I
right.
didn't come on here to like relitigate things. I came here so that my students that I
Right.
spent 15 years with, that I got like 60, 70% reading proficiency and math proficiency, for them to know that I'm alive, for them to know that the case is pending. That's more important than trying to redo something.
I'm trying to get back to the incident.
But I can't talk about that incident like that. That's what I'm saying. It's
All right,
published.
all right. Just stop me. Stop me when you can't talk about something,
I can,
and then
I can
revert.
talk about my feelings, but I can't talk about things.
You can't talk
like-
about him coming in the vehicle.
Well,
You can't.
he
You
did
can't. All right,
come
your
in.
feelings. You can't talk about. At what point were you scared?
Just remember,
Were you?
this is the guy coming in my vehicle.
I get it.
Just remember, this is the guy.
I get it. I
in
get
my
it.
vehicle.
I get it.
And
I
then
get it.
also too, what would you do if somebody comes in your vehicle?
That's a whole different story.
No, it's the same thing. If you're asking me, right? Like, My stuff is published. What would a reasonable
But
prudent person
but
do?
you are on the line right now, not me. What would I do
But
is
this-
irrelevant
but
though.
This isn't a line that is new. This has been published. This has been
Right.
published for 4 years.
Okay.
So I would ask you, what would a reasonable and prudent person do if somebody goes into your vehicle?
That's like breaking into your home. Your vehicle is an extension of your home. So, a CCW carrier, especially, and especially a female, if that happened to me, I would definitely feel like someone is trying to attack me and my life is in danger. I would react, absolutely, with as much force as I possibly could, knowing my life is in danger. Yes.
What would you do?
I got to be devil's advocate since we're doing the show because
But that's gonna have to answer though.
No,
keep asking
you
and I'm
don't have
asking
to answer.
But I'd like to hear your answer for that. What would you do?
If somebody try to break in my vehicle,
No, they're in your vehicle.
they're in my vehicle.
This guy is in your vehicle.
He would just beat him. That's what would happen.
I would beat them.
You wouldn't invite him.
He
to
would not have walked away.
You wouldn't invite him to read Bible verses
No.
or like pray.
I'll beat
You
his
wouldn't try
ass.
Especially with a German Shepherd. Shoot.
And where was the shepherd at this point?
That
All
might
of
be
that's
more.
also published. And I go into actually the 911 call that anybody can look up. I go into explicit detail about where he was.
Okay, tell us what the 911 call says. That probably be best because that's all on record. That's all
Correct.
tape.
That's all on record.
And they're going to play that in court anyways. So tell
You'd be
us.
surprised.
So well, they should. I mean, I would. Tell us what the 911 call says. How about that?
Called, okay, so, and this is going to be the Channel 8 news now. A Las Vegas man is accused of shooting his ex-wife's husband, which he said came after a history of threatening phone calls and messages that he sent to the couple, according to a report from the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department. On Monday, June 12th at around 10:15, Dawrin Mota, 37, called 911 from the 6,000 block of Elkhorn Road and told police that he was attacked and he had to defend himself against his ex-wife's husband. I feared for my life, he told dispatchers, the report said. Mota told dispatch that he had shot his ex-wife's husband, identified as Oscar Ramirez, in the chest after he said Ramirez ran up to his vehicle with a dog. Published by 8 News Now.
Anything could have happened with someone coming in your vehicle and a dog like that, coming. So you're arrested, they charge you, and you're out on bail, and this insurance company, great for them. But since you've been out, what was interesting is that when you shared that the vehicle that you were driving was, obviously it was impounded, and taken away. And apparently they did processed the vehicle as much as they thought they needed to. And then they gave the car, released it to the bank, and then it was sold. Is this accurate?
100% accurate. And we actually had litigation against both Ewing Brothers and Global Lending because the car is gone. I'd love for you to ask me about that.
Who's the DA in this case?
I'd love for you to ask me
Wait,
about
who's
that.
who's the DA?
Well, you can read about this. If you want to hear about the shooting, I could give you all
Isn't the
paperwork about
DA Lombardo? Morgan Lombardo, is that
Correct.
right? Okay. And is that the governor's daughter?
that. Correct.
Okay.
And I'm not, again, making any statement one way or the other, just confirming that that's the DA, not advocating for anything, not endorsing or not endorsing, just establishing that that is the fact.
So in some of these things that I was reading, how do you take evidence, such as a vehicle? There could be blood in there, dog hair, your hair, his hair. I mean, just the fingerprints, DNA, everything. And take it, and both sides get to process the car. Is that right? The prosecution and the defense? And your side, the defense, didn't have a chance?
So how can we talk about the shooting if the vehicle isn't?
Where's the evidence? It was given away and the bank sold it. So it's gone now. You can never recover that. I don't even know how that happens. Did they offer your attorneys any kind of answer about that? No? Nothing.
That's why I had to take it into the civil realm because
So you filed a lawsuit when in the
this was
civil case?
about roughly 2 years ago.
Okay. So 2 years, and you are suing the tow company. And by the way, all those tow fees, did they want to charge you for that? Did
Correct.
they want? Okay. And you're
And I was
suing-
not behind on payments. You're
You're suing the bank. Who else is in that lawsuit? I can't remember.
Everybody else who would have any kind of say so in the
Releasing the vehicle.
being gone.
Okay. So where have you, because you've had hearings on that, you've been in court on that, right? So where has that gotten to?
So paperwork that I've received shows that my name was misspelled, shows things that just contradict what they said would authorize it not being given to me or disappearing. And we're still in active litigation with that.
And they didn't pay you for this car. They just took it, didn't keep it, and then it goes and gets sold. So you have no vehicles. You had to go buy another car.
And somebody else is driving that vehicle now.
Well, obviously they cleaned the whole thing, so everything is.
And I'm sure that's
is,
very helpful, right?
Is gone.
For this whole situation.
Let me tell you where my mindset is, okay? Because I haven't left the shooting yet. My mindset, and I know you can't answer. My mindset was.
But you understand how this happening
I get.
completely
Let
complicates the
me.
shooting, right?
Could I speak, Mr. Mota? My mindset is, you see him coming towards you. Why didn't you put the vehicle in reverse? Why didn't you try to get away? My mindset is, when he got in the car, what happened? And before that, did you see any bulk? Did you feel like he was armed?
So I'll tell you this.
I'm not done.
Well,
I'm not done. I got.
You've asked that kind of before, right? So just because I go in reverse doesn't mean I don't hit somebody.
Okay. How was you trying to get away from him? How was you trying to remove your car from that street? How were you trying to put distance between you and the threat? I guess that would be. I'm around a lot of attorneys. So how would you try to put distance between you and the threat?
If you look at the space of the vehicle and you look at the two witnesses, they answer those questions explicitly.
Because taking a life is extremely a very serious thing. Sometimes you have to make split seconds decision before you press the trigger or before you take that knife and jab.
But you're talking about it as though we're in this air-conditioned room at that moment.
No,
and though I can analyze the dog,
No,
I can analyze him.
This is
I
what
can think about.
I'm gonna tell you what I'm doing.
His safety before mine.
I've been in put it this way. I've been in situations before. That's why I'm asking the questions the way I'm asking, because I've been in situations. And I'm just going to leave it at that. I'm going to leave it at that. I'm going to leave it at that.
But have you been in a situation where they lose your vehicle? Have you
They
been in
didn't lose it. They just gave it
Well,
away.
no.
For that part.
They didn't lose
I'm not even there with the civil part. I'm still on criminal.
But you see how you don't want to get into.
I want to know how he got in the vehicle. I want to know when you drew your weapon. I want to know, did you draw?
You should definitely show us a trial.
Did you draw your weapon when he was coming in the vehicle? Was he already there? How were you trying to de-escalate the situation? You say, yo, man, once you get out of my vehicle.
I de-escalated by contacting police years before.
Okay.
And I literally have a copy of that. I de-escalated that by calling and doing welfare checks. I de-escalated that by asking my son to text him.
Did you have a dash camera?
Wouldn't matter now.
Okay. Oh, my dash camera, you can see on the inside of my vehicle.
So you're a proponent that then losing the vehicle is an issue, right?
No, I'm not even there. I'm still on the.
Well, we have to be there, right? Because that runs concurrently.
Yeah,
You're trying to put me in the hot seat. It's not going to happen. What I'm telling you is that when it comes to the vehicle, a lot of the questions
they took your evidence. I get it. They took your evidence. So I don't know how the prosecutor is going to convict you of that if they don't even have the vehicle. The vehicle's supposed to be the evidence because the vehicle was the vessel that got you there. The vehicle was the vessel that was supposed to protect you, right?
Correct.
It was supposed to be what?
Correct. So where are the articles on that? Where are the articles on the vehicle?
The vehicle, if they process the vehicle, dust for prints, check for DNA, see if, hair, the dog, blood, all the things. They process this vehicle, okay? So if they have processed and they have gotten all the evidence that they think is necessary for their case, talking about the prosecutors here, then I think they believe there's no other use for that car. But what about the defense side? Did they get the same opportunity? Did they collect the evidence? It doesn't sound like it. And then they went and released the car. So the bank took it, sold the damn thing.
Oh, it gets
To
better.
me,
So I'll give you a little tidbit since you were
That's
asking.
crazy. That's
His
just
cell
crazy.
phone was found on the vehicle, right? They also charged me with robbery. My DNA is excluded from the cell phone. It was found on top of the vehicle.
So he put his cell phone on top of the vehicle.
It sounds like that when he
And
got
I
to the
drove
vehicle.
away, and it stayed up there the whole time.
And if you were going to rob him, you would take the phone, I guess, if you're trying to steal it, and your fingerprints would be on it, or
I wouldn't call the cops.
something.
If I was going to rob somebody, I wouldn't call the cops and offer to give that person aid. I wouldn't say this happened and things like that. I have had no criminal history whatsoever. Like, before this whole situation, here's what I did do. I taught with Nevada's Teacher of the Year. I taught with America's Teacher of the Year. I was a member of Teach Plus and ended up getting legislation passed to get a raise for teachers. I'm also a highly decorated teacher with awards from Congress, from both sides of the aisle. I also was a highly decorated veteran. I also invested in businesses, and I employ people now. So in that instant, all of it is gone.
I wish you could talk more about what happened, because
So could I.
It would paint a better picture.
Well-
so I could right now I can't. I know they took your evidence away. I get that.
You understand how crucial
I
that
know
is?
this guy's a criminal. I get that. I know he had a
I
dog.
don't think you get to the extent of.
I know he had a
I don't
dog.
think you get to the extent of the criminality that he was partaking in, according to the reports. And I don't think you understand completely the extent of breaks that he was given. If you were on felony probation and you decided to hit your wife or your partner, would you be allowed to be on probation?
No, I get all that. I'm just trying to get a clear picture of what happened that day.
That's a great thing about that's one of the few things that's good about the media, is that they did publish it. And I think now, me being able to comment on what's already has been established doesn't paint the complete picture, but you have a little bit of a side of the story that no one else has gotten for almost 4 years.
I would ask,
Steve.
how did the dog play a part in this? Was the dog in the vehicle as well? Where did you shoot? Did you shoot when he entered the vehicle, while he was outside of the vehicle?
Then you should go to my trial.
Those are the questions I would ask.
Yeah, I think the problem is that a lot of that stuff is also contingent on the car. Like I said, you should definitely go to my trial. And I think a lot of that is also contingent on what is known at the time, right? Because it's easy to be like a Monday night quarterback. It's easy to digest something and say, well, if I saw them coming, I would stop the vehicle. I would offer them a glass of water. I would offer to do his taxes. I would process the scene and move pebbles out of the way. And I would have.
Mr. Mota, have you ever taken the stand before in anything? Were you ever a witness in any court case?
normally avoid these situations.
Yeah,
But
this
this
is nothing compared to what the prosecutor's going to do.
That's also why I have attorneys, though, right?
Yeah.
And in those situations, I have to answer.
You understand this is nothing compared to what a prosecutor would do.
But that's also why I have attorneys. You also understand that you wouldn't be able to question me without somebody interjecting, right? You also understand that, like, in that setting, I'm sworn in. In that setting, it's not.
I get it.
It's not a podcast.
I've taken the stand before as well.
That's what I'm
So
saying.
I understand.
So have you ever taken a life?
I don't want to answer that question.
See? So you understand where I'm coming from, right? So you understand why I would give you the answers that I give you. Because if I were to turn it on the other foot, any action, if you're going to Monday night quarterback it, it's easy to say, well, you should have done it this way. I'm wondering, well, why did you join the military, right? You know how many times I've been called a baby killer? You know how many times I've had people say every life is precious?
But I'm not in the
You know
paper,
what I
you
mean?
are.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean that you don't understand the concept of not answering. That doesn't mean you don't understand the concept that, like, when you Monday night quarterback something, it can be difficult.
I wasn't trying to Monday night. That's why I was asking all
Sounds like
these
you
questions.
are, which is fine. But,
No.
you know.
I'm asking questions, and I got to play devil's advocate
You
because
don't play devil's advocate with this information.
because we're doing a show.
Mhm.
So there's other people probably out there thinking the same questions I'm thinking,
I bet you they probably aren't because it's already published. But you know what? I bet you the questions people
and a lot of people don't believe the media, anyways.
A lot of them did, because I've gone to my properties and had people say, shouldn't you be in prison for life? Weren't you that guy that shot the dude?
That's so terrible.
Weren't you? And then when I'm like, what? I'm here because somebody is running the property, or I'm cleaning it, it does affect it, right? A lot of people did take that at face value. You have no idea how much that's taken at face value, right?
Mm-hmm.
So think about that. I don't think your viewers, after reading this, care as much about the dynamics of what happened that moment. But I bet you they do care about how this guy got back in the country. I bet you they do care about if you facilitate people like that being here, does that come with a consequence? I bet you that they do care about the idea that there's a defense insurance that advocates for you. I think that hasn't, actually I know that, it hasn't been published. I think they would also be curious about how this destroyed my life. You know, and I don't know how much you've been around people that are anti-veteran. I've been around a lot of people that are I've been around people obviously that love the service, but I've been confronted in a parking lot about stuff, right? I don't know if you've ever been, but I definitely have had people ask me, you know, what is it like to kill someone? What do you feel about this or that?
Answer those questions, and
that's why I don't answer yours.
And when you left the scene, where was the perp? Was he on the street, laying on the street? Was he in blood?
That I honestly don't know, because when I had left, and my goal was to try to get everybody medical, and my goal was to be safe. I think anybody who understands everything now in context could see why I'm not going to stay there. Again, it's easy in an air-conditioned room. It's easy when you're looking at something after the fact to put stuff in there. I could do that all day, but I think it's important to understand that I did call. I think it's
before you call.
I beat everybody to the call.
And then you have to worry about the dog that's still loose somewhere that could come attack you still at that point. But this is what he already read. I'm going to do this little illustration. This is the car. He's driving. He already told this. The guy was running, okay? He slammed on his brakes. Everyone heard the screech. He came to the driver's door. The deceased opened his driver door, got in the car to attack him.
Confirmed by 2 independent witnesses, by the way.
By witnesses. He moved over to the passenger side. Boop! Self-defense. He gets out of the car, drops, dies. Dog is somewhere in there, somewhere. That's about the gist of it. Okay? You get it? All right. There we go.
So I want to have that same amount of
There's
energy.
more to it than that in my head.
No, there's not.
I'm just trying to make it simple,
Correct.
so you can understand.
And then also, like, I would also ask that same respect that I wouldn't ask you to divulge classified information about what you would do. I would ask for you to give me that same respect, because you also chose to be in the Marines, right? Nobody forced you. We're not in like communist North Korea or Russia. So the same way that I would impress you on things that you're not allowed to answer is the same respect I would ask you to give me, because I could ask you, and I could, if you ever had an incident, I could ask you 1,000 times and what you would do and what you wouldn't do.
I'm sorry, Mr. Mota. You came on the show. I wasn't privy to what questions I can or cannot.
You can ask but I think there's a little bit of something called but I think repeatedly asking when you want to answer my questions, I look at it more from the idea of respect, from the idea of, like, if you said, hey, yeah, I'm not going to get into what I've done because obviously that could be operational security. That's my background. I would ask for the same respect instead of trying to rephrase the question or attack me. I'm a big boy. That
wasn't an attack. I'm trying to understand.
Then read
what happened.
Then
well,
read.
I got you on this, not for me to read this. I got you on here so you could talk about it.
But I did.
What's going on.
I came on here so that this stuff can be published. I came on here so people know that I run a business. I came on here for people to know that you could be a highly decorated teacher. You could serve your country and then serve your state. And in 1 second, this is what happens. I go from the guy who gets awards from Congress to the dude who's in the paper, and it's like, you're the one who shot him, not me.
Well,
so think about
that. It happens all the time. Look what happened with Trump.
But here's the problem, right?
They assassinate your character because of these headlines, just what I was talking about before, and it's skewed in a certain way to gaslight the public, and the public has certain opinions about this. So I understand from that point of view and that perspective, how this, what a terrible position to be in.
Do you know how many people have come up to my wife and been like, I thought you guys were married. Why is your husband doing that? You know how many times we go out somewhere public and then there's other news stations which I'm not against taking legal action against, by the way, if they don't want to correct the stories, are like, your husband shot him 6 times. And I'm like, where did this come from? You know how many people have stopped talking to her? You know what this has done to my mom? You know, this has done to my family. I give you an
But
example.
you still got a guy in a box, though.
Yeah, but so did you, right? So did anybody who's like been in the military directly or indirectly. So I'm not saying that it's not tragic. I'm not saying that, you know, it doesn't deserve to go before a court, but you also have to have the perspective of the fact that if we lived in the kind of world where these things wouldn't happen, you wouldn't have the insurance, you wouldn't need the Marines, right? Why aren't we like Costa Rica? Costa Rica has no military, right? So obviously it's a complex world. Would have wanted to be in this situation, to put my whole family through this situation? Absolutely not. And there's things that you don't ask me about, like what goes on now. The same day that this happened, she showed up to my wife's house, and with my ex-wife showed up to my current wife's house with fake eviction papers and knocked on the door for 2 weeks. Is that appropriate behavior? Do we just justify anything when something like this happens? Right?
The other thing, too, that I want to mention in your custody case is that the judge, who's your judge?
So
Ochoa?
that I don't know if I can get.
Oh, okay. All right. I can't remember which one it was. But anyway,
I can speak to a lot of the things with the family court, though. I can speak to the fact
but your custody, I mean, your time with your children is very minimal. And that is because the family court is deferring a decision on that, because waiting until after this trial. So in my opinion, if they're deferring to give you more time with your kids until after this trial, they're basically saying that you are guilty before even being convicted.
I have somebody who's more interested in what I did with the car than looking at how this stuff happened. So yeah.
That should not have any bearing. I mean, obviously, yeah, they can see the headlines, they can see what has happened in this case, but in this country, you're innocent until proven guilty. So in my opinion, that family
even if you
court
put a guy
judge,
in a box, you're innocent until proven guilty?
If, to me, being self-defense and having to shoot someone that was attacking me, yes, absolutely. So that family court judge, I don't believe, can sit there and say, oh no, you can only see your kids 2 hours a week or 4 hours a week until you go to trial and figure this out. To me, he's already deeming you guilty. That's not right.
Another important question that I have about that is, what is the impact of the statements that you made to the family court? Like, if you don't like a judge's decision, can you turn around and tell people to go see the judge? Can you turn around and tell people from the family court a completely different set of facts? Does it live in like a...
She claimed the kids were with you when you shot him. Apparently, that's what I read in there, and that's not true, according to others, right?
Even according to this.
Yeah. So
if you talk about that moment, think about all of these evolving stories, right? And that's something else that I wish, and beyond, you know, promoting myself, the company, and getting a chance to talk about the headlines, that's something else I'm glad that now can be public, is the fact that not only is it a lot more convoluted, but no one else is being put through the ringer, right? And again, would I say that scrutiny is unwarranted? No, but I do believe that things should be consistent, right? Because we do have that system. Why do we have that system? Because there was a time where a king or an earl or a duke could force you into a confession. There are still parts of this world where you are guilty until proven innocent. And that's what makes us different. That's the Constitution I fought to defend. And when all of that goes away, and it doesn't matter the context of when something happens or what it happened under, the only thing that matters is the end result, then why do we have a Constitution? Why do we have a concept of being innocent or proven guilty?
Yeah,
Why
I don't think that's fair what the family court is doing you seeing your kids, because this is going on 3 years now,
Going on 4
and
years.
and four,
Yeah.
sorry, and for not being able to see your kids as normal, because they're already have convicted you of this rather than you being defending yourself.
And this is what my kids see.
Yeah, it's terrible.
So
That
my,
is awful.
my kids aren't seeing the things that I do now. Do they see me when I had a DA out of Arizona that had a vehicle that broke down? I'm the only person who helped them. And I literally go out to the middle of the desert at 2 or 3 in the morning because we work 24-hour roadside, 24-hour mechanic stuff. Do you ever see what it's like to talk somebody out of a panic attack? Because you're in the middle of the desert and your vehicle breaks down and you're wondering if you're going to die of dehydration, or be put in a situation where, on top of being somewhere remote, maybe you have this one business that you could work and fix the vehicle at, and they tell you that if you don't leave, you're going to get a $3,000 fine. And now you're trying to fix that vehicle. Now you're trying to get that person home. You know, none of those things are covered, right? That's literally, even while I'm here, I'm still helping people in the parking lot. I still have customers that are waiting for me outside. I'm still working at this moment. The other people that own the company with me have encouraged me to promote, to talk about holistically who I am now. The humanity goes away. And it's easy, right, to be in a safe environment and to take the moral high ground, because there's a lot of people that do things for this country that allow you that privilege. You have that ability to judge and to be removed and to have opinions. And I've traveled the world. That's not something that is common, right? And I would want this to paint a holistic picture as to who I am. I mean, I'm a teacher killer now, right?
That's
Like
terrible.
literally now I'm the guy that looks for these problems. I'm not anti-law enforcement. I'm not anti-immigration. There's probably a time in college where I literally fought for things like the DREAM Act, right? I'm also not the kind of person who says things like the world government or whatever says that all human beings are allowed freedom of movement. I'm not that guy either. I do believe there's a right way to do things. And I think anybody who's listened to this sees there's a lot of smoke. There's a lot of dots to connect. My goal isn't to tell people to believe me and take what I say at face value. Do your research. A lot of this is public. But I would say that I've seen interviews like this on TV. I've literally taught 5th graders. I've taught high schoolers. Did I ever think somebody else who also works in an education field would put me in this situation and that I'd be talking to you and I would be in this mess? 100% not. And for 37 years, I was able to avoid that. But that's one of the things that I would want to make public. What happens when you put certain kinds of people in the ecosystem? Why do we have the Marines? Why do we have the Army?
You should never have been in the country, it sounds like. So had that not happened, this would not have happened. There are consequences when these people come in our country illegally. But excuse me. So you have a family case, you have the criminal, and you have the civil on the car, and the family case and the car case, the civil case, are waiting until the criminal happens in April. So everything is kind of at a standstill, on hold, it sounds like, until April rolls around. I don't know. I don't see that logic. I think that is completely. I understand the criminal with the car, but I don't understand the family thing. Family court.
I would want to say it's unfair, but it's like I tell my kids. You know what fair is? Fair is what you pay to get on a bus. So my goal isn't to be a victim. My goal isn't to do anything more than offer people that perspective. Because even the idea of the ecosystem, why do we have a military? To keep certain people out of this ecosystem, whether it's physically or to keep certain things of our ecosystem intact so that you can criticize the government. So you are innocent until proven guilty, right? I mean, what was it today that Nicaragua decided we're just not going to have elections? That's the world we live in, right? When's the last time North Korea's had an election? When's the last time Russia's changed their president? And again, I'm not trying to make it into a political thing, but I'm grateful for those things. It's why I served. Even the idea of a Second Amendment, there's a lot of people that are all about the Second Amendment. And then the minute that something happens, they take that perspective, right? Well, I would have started praying. I would have done all of these other things. Then why do you want a firearm, right? If you want a firearm, right, isn't the point of that? So if someone puts you in a situation where you have no choice to use it, right? Because there's BB guns, there's pepper spray, there's batons, there's 1,000 different ways. There's verbal de-escalation skills, right? But we all understand that as much as you try to clean up your ecosystem, as much as you try to live the right way, you don't control other people. I have no control over what somebody else does, right?
And you have to make that decision so quickly, and no one can sit in your shoes and tell you, how you felt. Only you can say that. And nobody can really judge unless you're in that situation yourself. And it's really easy to come back and say, oh, well, you should have done A, B, and C. Well, no, you're not that person. You weren't in that, and somebody feeling fearful for their life in that much fear, I can totally see it. And this show actually, and this information is really good for CCW holders to listen to and hear. This could happen to anybody.
Because you know what, I've sat in those classes, and everyone's like, yeah, I got, a Surefire light, and I have an extended magazine, and I go shooting all the time. But then what happens when you use it? Some of those same people in that classroom are going to be like, well, what? You used your weapon. So then what were we here for, right? So were you doing this? Sure, you could use it for personal enrichment, enjoyment, or whatever, but at the end of the day, you do have it understanding that it is a resource that you can turn to when you don't have many options left. So I would advocate that for the people who do carry a firearm, is that it does change when you have it. And one of the first people, the group that's made the biggest impact is USCCA. To be able to say, hey, we understand you do have a right to defend yourself. We do understand that these things happen, right? And again, I'm not the guy that runs the streets. I'm not the guy that, even the gang member stuff, his words, not mine. I think people can connect the dots the way they want to. My place was the classroom. Like the person you would probably think the farthest from any of this, right? So if it can happen to me.
You have no record, you're not violent, you weren't drunk, you weren't on drugs, you were just, going down the road, and then all of a sudden it went south. And it just
can happen to anybody.
Your character, your job history, your everything that you have done, you serving the country, these things need to be brought out so that people do see your character and who you are. And it's very easy for the media to put these headlines out there and just assassinate your character. And it's not fair, because people won't do the research. They won't dive into the stuff, and they won't see the beyond the headlines. And it's just like when I was talking in the beginning on that rant. It's the same thing. People are so quick to judge. But I'm glad that you...
I'll give you an example, like even something that my wife and the girls go through, even till this day. Because for the longest time, with the fake eviction papers, they just kept knocking at my wife's house, or my other house, knocking on the door, trying to come in. Let her doorbell ring now. You talk about PTSD, you talk about fear, you talk about what you would do. They are instantly crying. Mm-hmm. They are fearful. We've had to put them in therapy. And it's like, is that them? Mm-hmm. Are they back? We had another situation with...
Were you in therapy?
I was for the longest time, man. Because again, this isn't what I worked so hard to go for. If I wanted to do that, I could have been, right? I know you've heard of like Jody on the block when they'll say that. You're not Jody on the block anymore, right? I could have been Jody on the block. That wasn't my goal. I literally chose to do things in a certain way to maintain a certain lifestyle. So imagine that. Like, so the doorbell rings. Ding, ding, ding. It's like, oh my God, they're here. They're going to happen. Mm-hmm. We literally have court mandated that I asked for people that help me with the kids, right? And I did ask for this. There was a day where they tried to come in the office So this was because this I will give you a timeline for because this is incredibly important. Long story short, I asked the family court to be able to see my kids and I want to be comfortable. The whole thing about them coming to the house, and this was my ex-wife and I think her brother and a couple of other people, I don't know because at that time I was incarcerated. This is what my wife has told me. Some of those same characters with these court-mandated observers that I asked for, there's a rule where you can't come into the office to interact with us. That's for obvious reasons. You are to wait outside and not to come to the door. I think you know where I'm going with this. So
they came to the door, came in the office.
Oh, they tried to come into the office. So there's one of the court men.
His ex-wife.
Correct. Well, so my wife saw them. I was like trying to discern what happened because it was my wife, the two court mandated people. No, it was my wife. Yeah, the two court mandated people, my kids. And in this situation, one of the monitors who didn't like the interactions that were going on is like, I'm going to wait. I'm going to wait here to make sure you guys are okay. So they, being at least two people, I believe one of them is like her cousin and one of them is a brother. Again, I didn't see it, but I definitely felt it. I definitely saw the door open. Door opens, they go, whoa, 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 whoa. You know what I mean? You guys can't be in here, right? This is the whole reason why we have the situation. And they stayed outside for like 20 minutes. So one of the monitors comes in and says, yeah, they wanted to come in here. I explained to them that's against the orientation. It's against the rules. She's like almost 80 years old. And they called me a fucking bitch. And I'm like, well, I'm glad you were here because who would have known what would have happened if I would have done a traditional drop off, right? Are you going to then come inside? I feel like I've kind of seen that movie before. And they were terrified. Altogether, they've had maybe 24 hours of interactions with these people. And they're like, we've never had that happen before. And they're literally telling me this is like ranks up. Like if there's like an Olympic podium of craziness, they're like, this is like top 3. And even that, I was happy the situation got resolved. I had to calm my wife down. It's also just incredibly embarrassing. Where I'm like, yeah, like that doesn't speak to my caliber. That's not the kind of person I am. I'm not going to go barge into an office when I've signed something that says that you don't do that. And then, she did. Yeah, and then in a weird way, it's a reflection on like me.
Because you were married to her. And you have children with her. Yeah.
Right? So then it's like, so if I go outside, I'm this guy. But then when the rubber meets the road, the only thing that's between me and everything else is these two people and a prayer. And when I go outside, it's, I'm back to that guy. And that also is hard, talking about therapy. That's incredibly difficult because of just the sheer polarized dichotomy of like, this is who you are outside and then this is the reality. And then trying to explain to people. Because I remember one time they told me, you're like a breath of fresh air. I'm like, I work hard to be that way. And then that happens. And it's like, well, I guess the fresh air just got a fart.
How long were you incarcerated for?
This was on and off. Well, there's
what do you mean on and off?
How would I put this? Because when I first went in, they put me under 23-hour like lockdowns. So I was only out for 40 minutes.
You were on suicide watch?
No, none of this would break me. I would never. I'm too Catholic for that. I don't know why they did that, actually. I just know that for the first 2 months, it was like being incarcerated within being incarcerated.
So you was at CCDC for 2 months?
Solitary.
Essentially, that was like the majority of the time, yeah.
For 2 months. And then you finally got in front of the judge and made bail?
So, okay, this I can talk about because this is settled. Anybody
it's already
can
public.
Look this
It
up.
already
yeah,
happened.
It's already there. So I had an attorney at the time. They didn't really say anything. And then I ended up...
What's the attorney?
That, because he's an attorney, I don't want to say. They can look it up.
Why? It's public.
Yeah.
Because
and an attorney like free PR.
My mom told me if you don't have anything
good don't say anything else. Okay, all right. Okay, so you get bail, right? You made bail.
How much is bail, by the way?
$100,000.
And that
Because-
your insurance company kicked in for that? Okay, so did you
No,
ever go?
actually, that was covered under a different thing, but the insurance company did reimburse me. Yeah.
So you get out after 2 months and you haven't been back since, right?
There was an incident where somebody tried to like fight with me about a deposit, and then I think because of this whole situation, they tried to do that, but that ended up resolving itself.
Okay.
Yeah. So no, that was the only
Okay.
that was the only time, and even that, talking about the military, you know what I mean? I know what it's like to sit in a small room and watch a road, and it literally comes back to that. You got people screaming, you got people yelling, and again, I don't judge anybody for their lifestyle or what they do, because that's something else. You know, I remember Mark Fierro was like, "Oh, when this comes out, I think these guys are going to get mad at you or whatever else." And I'm like, I don't know if that's going to necessarily be the case, because I think everybody understands what it's like to have kids.
Do you have your own electronic monitoring system?
They do.
Okay.
Yeah, but because I'm able to come here for work, I'm able to promote the company. My company has asked me to come. My employees have asked me to come. Then it's a different situation, because I'm actually getting paid to be here from the other members. So I'm actually actively working as I'm talking to you in this setting. This is probably more PR than what I pay the guys out of Canada and the other Google SEO people.
Why are you interested in PR?
Because no one ever gets to tell the other side of the story. And it's so much easier when this is already public to be like, well, this is the only thing I need to know. You put a guy in the box. What does it matter? Right? And I think now there's a lot of public conversations just around immigration that are very nuanced. Like I've literally have seen arguments where they'll mock like Laken Riley. And they're like, that's all you got, Laken Riley? Like, seriously? And I'm like, God, like that's a life. And there's so much more that goes to it. And I literally hired a PR team to do a lot of this, and it didn't go the way that I would have wanted it to go. Maybe after this, maybe it might. But the story needs to be holistic. I think after people knowing who I am, I'm not this. You know what I mean? I don't do things like, I don't publish a judge's location and a picture of her and tell people to go see them.
And who did that? Is this your ex? Your ex-wife?
Yes, ma'am.
Judge Nadia Wood. So Nadia was on the original when you went to jail, when you were
So
arrested.
I
Is
waited
that
my
right?
time. I used the process. I would love for you to read that out loud, because
They
look at,
remanded you to district court, right?
they kicked it up. Yeah.
Who's the judge there? Do you know?
Kearney.
Who?
Kearney.
Oh,
Kearney.
okay.
Yeah. Judge Nadia Wood allowed the man who murdered my husband out on bail today. Please share. Judges like her don't care about their families. Now my kids and I live in fear, wondering if it cut off here. If going to show up at their school, our home, or find us anywhere deserves justice.
And he hasn't seen his kids in what, 4 years, you said?
I do get to see my kids now with the government.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
Oh,
You see them 2 hours, 4 hours a week,
Correct.
somewhere in yeah.
and,
But you've asked for more time.
and
Correct.
and this guy Oscar's his name. He was their stepdad.
Correct.
So, how does your children feel? Do you talk about that with
We're
them?
not allowed to talk about that.
Oh, you're not allowed to talk about it. Okay.
No. But I think the other thing too is that there's a lot. If you look at the media, he's painted as like your average, everyday next door neighbor.
No, that doesn't sound like average everyday next door neighbor to me.
I just say connect the dots. Where there's smoke, there's fire.
There's a lot of smoke. There's
A
a
lot
lot
of
of
smoke.
holes in this. Excuse me. In my opinion, there's a lot of holes with this, and I'll be very interested to see when this goes to trial. There's so much here. To me, this isn't.
I mean, this is appropriate.
No, this is not appropriate. This was a Facebook post. Is it Facebook? This was a Facebook post by your ex-wife.
By a school administrator, by the way.
And she is a assistant principal at a school. Your ex-wife, made this post and about Nadia Wood.
And I'm surprised that the DA hasn't tossed this case out since they lost all their evidence. I mean, the car is the evidence, right? You got blood, you got hair, you got all that DNA stuff on there.
So I'll speak in general terms because I in my heart, I really do love this country. I really do respect the process. So I'm not going to.
Were you born here, by the way?
I was. The Bronx.
Oh,
Boogie
the
down,
Bronx.
baby.
Boogie. Okay.
Yeah.
What about your parents?
All of my family from the Dominican Republic.
Oh.
That's another thing I like about.
Are you first generation?
Correct.
Okay.
That's another thing I like about going on a program like this because somebody could be like, "Oh, well, you're anti-immigrant." I'm like, no, my family's all immigrant. You know, I speak Spanish. I'm not that guy. This is something else maybe that can happen. Can we get back to being reasonable and just being realistic and being pragmatic? Can we all agree if you get deported for beating women and for leaving the scene of an accident and for doing these kinds of things, can we just all agree that you probably shouldn't be allowed back in the country? I don't think that. I hate the idea, even when I talk, of like all these crazy labels. What makes America great is that we're pragmatic. No one's going to starve for a party. We call balls and strikes. I think this is one of those common sense, rational balls and strikes type situation. You know, so like, but yeah.
I feel like there's so much there that it could very likely get dismissed.
Well, you know, think about this, right? When this comes out, and this is just my opinion. I mean, I'm sure on its face, it's like, wow, you have a teacher who went out and put a guy in a box. This is going to be great media coverage. It's
not that simple, though.
Exactly.
It's not that simple. They like to make it like that.
And the way they
so
word it,
easily.
went to
And
your
then-
ex-wife's house. Ooh, so a teacher, highly decorated, went to his ex-wife's house and then did this. Oh my God, this is like days of our lives.
They leave out so much stuff. That's why I can't stand the media. They leave stuff out. They lie. They put all this, they stretch the truth just for clicks and just for attention and all of that. So
that's why I'm eternally grateful for you guys being able to.
I'm glad that you were able to tell your story. And
I'm surprised your attorney allowed you to come on here with an active murder case in court.
Well,
if I was your attorney, nothing bad to say about your attorney at all. But if I was your attorney, I wouldn't allow you to come on the show or any show.
So then I would end up
because you're in an active murder case.
Correct.
Because what you say can and will be used against you.
But weren't you the guy trying to get me to talk about those things, though?
Huh? Yeah, I am because I have a different hat. I am a talk show host, and I'm trying to extract information from you.
Most of the information's out there, and this is what I'm saying. Like, because here's the thing, right? At the end of the day, it's a case to them, right? It's my life, though. So I'm going to go in and not going to have any other narrative. This is what you're going to see. And up until then, this is also the only thing that's there. So if I had to make a living, if I had to do something,
nobody would hire you.
So then how am I supposed to make a living until that time?
Nobody would hire you.
I'm not getting an opportunity.
Because everybody's doing what? You're guilty until proven innocent.
People assume this is true.
Yeah.
So having to be able to tell who you are and your background and all of this, that, at least gives you some sort of indication. But until you guys step in court and your attorneys tear this thing apart, then you will see justice. I believe that you will see justice for that.
I'm hoping that,
and that you will be free. And there's just so much here.
Yeah, and I would like to go to your murder trial. Absolutely.
I would love that.
Absolutely.
I would love that it doesn't get that far, but I would love that because I think.
But I don't think they have anything if they took the car and gave it to the bank.
That's one thing I would hope you would.
The case is over.
But that's one thing I would hope that this would get down to the nitty gritty of, because there is a constitutional right to inspect your things, right? You can't.
And they didn't even give your stuff back.
No.
You had like jewelry.
It was tossed in a trash can at a 7-Eleven, and the judge's search warrant is sitting in a passenger seat stepped on.
And that was thrown out too, right? You had a trunk full of stuff in those photos. Where'd that go? All gone? And it just magically disappeared.
And this is America. What country are we in again?
Yeah.
This is America, right? Like, so, and even with the attorneys, like even before I hired them, I knew the media was going to be a powerful tool. I wasn't going to bring anybody on who would 100% shy away, because this is powerful. This does affect, like when I walk out of here, someone will
affects the jury. That affects a future jury. That right there.
5 different articles, 5 million hits.
I'd
Yeah.
get a beard if I was you.
Huh?
I'd get a beard if I was you.
A beard? Oh. Well, you know what? It's a shame, man, that I'd have to change that because
Your appearance.
yeah, because it's like
That's not fair. You're innocent. You're innocent until proven guilty.
and I'd also would like people to know that I am that. And I don't have anything to hide. I don't claim to be perfect. I don't claim to have like all of the answers. And we're part of building.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Obviously,
so,
yes, you
yeah.
have.
And then it's like, if I do something like that, I would hate for somebody to say, well, you're trying to hide your identity. Like, why not come on this interview and use a pseudonym or use a hat or do something else? I want to be honest. I'm like, this also promotes my company, allows people to see where.
Say the name of your company again.
It's a Quick Emergency Roadside.
Okay.
To my knowledge, we're the only actual 24-hour mobile mechanics in Las Vegas.
Do you have a website that
Yes, if they Google it, it'll end up linking them to all of our stuff.
Well, Mr. Mota, we are running out of time. Ms. Phillips, do you have anything else, Mr. Mota?
No, just things he can't answer.
Man, if he could answer, I would have really dug in some more.
I know. Well, he needs to be protected. So
I've been doing this for a few decades now. So
he gets all excited.
some people don't like my
This-
line of questions, but
Yeah,
That's not him attacking. That's just him normally
I don't-
how he asks questions.
I don't mind the questions. The only thing is just understanding, like if I say, hey, I can't answer.
Yeah. No, we get it. We get it.
Like, trust me, I'm not the kind of person who backs away from any of that. And I guess that's a good byproduct is that.
just being on the show, I could tell you're not the person that backs away.
No, yeah, that's not my character.
Mark is going to zoom in on you. This is your time to say whatever you want to say. You could talk about, self-defense.
Thank
You could
you.
talk about the insurance. You could talk about if they want to get in contact with you. I don't know if you have a GoFundMe account. And
I do.
what I also like for you to do is say it in Spanish. You think you could do that?
Oh, absolutely. I read it, write it, speak it.
Okay, beautiful. Say it in English and then say it in Spanish, or
The
vice
closing
versa.
argument.
Yeah. So this is you.
And if you want to give your number, email, website, any
would love to do
contact
that.
info, just here you go. This is your time.
Okay, so I'll start off in English. So I definitely want to thank you all for having me here. I hope that through this you can see that I am the average American, that I love my family dearly, that I try to bring more to the table than I ever take from it. And I hope that this brings a justice to this whole situation. And I'm grateful for being given an opportunity to show another narrative. Again, I didn't want to reveal anything that's protected strategy. Anything in here is alleged and my opinions and things like that where it's appropriate. My company will take care of you if your vehicle's down. We are 24 hours. And again, I run the company the same way that you see the man in front of you now. If the dealership needs to take care of something, then I will recommend to the dealership. We'll coordinate that. If you're in a tough situation, I will be honest about the options and help you. I don't make things up. I don't put people in a tough spot. That number again is 702-907-9619. We're 24 hours. And I literally work to the bone with that company, and so do my guys. On an everyday basis, we don't close. I've worked on Christmas. I've worked on any day that I'm allowed to work, that I'm able to work. I'm working now. So I'm hoping there's that. I do have a GoFundMe. I'm not the kind of person to ask for handouts, but it's there. Do with that what you will. And yeah, para decirlo en español, quiero decir que le quiero dar las gracias a todos que están mirando este video. Le quiero dar las gracias a esta plataforma por darme la oportunidad de explicar de lo que pasó. Y quiero decir que yo no soy contra los inmigrantes. Yo amo mi cultura, amo este país. Y lo único que quiero hacer es buscar justicia. Cuando han puesto mi nombre en las noticias, en las redes sociales, y me han puesto a mí en la basura. Y quería venir aquí y hablar sobre lo bueno que yo he hecho, quién yo soy como un ser humano de carne y hueso, para que la gente entienda. No estoy aquí para pedir dinero, no estoy aquí para más nada afuera de decir cómo yo veo las cosas y lo más que puedo. Manejo un negocio, obviamente también hablamos español, estamos disponibles 24 horas, somos mecánicos, lo podemos ayudar con cualquier problema que tiene. Le quería decir que también amo a mi mamá, amo a mi familia, toda mi gente que me han apoyado estos últimos 4 años, mis abogados y el Estados Unidos por todas las oportunidades que me han dado.
Gracias.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mota, for coming on. Thank you, Ms. Phillips. Folks, that's Dawrin Mota, military veteran charged with open murder after claiming self-defense. Folks, this case has a whole lot of twists and turns. You have an illegal immigrant that has a lengthy arrest record that approached Mr. Mota with his German Shepherd, entered his vehicle, and Mr. Mota defended himself. He is a military veteran, and military veterans out there, we always defend ourselves if we feel that there's a threat that's going to be taking place. The district attorney didn't keep the vehicle. The vehicle was sold off to the bank, and the vehicle is the evidence. It has DNA, has all kinds of stuff that's in there that any prosecutor would want to get forensics from. But there is no forensic because vehicle is gone. So the district attorney lost their evidence. Mr. Mota spent over 2 months incarceration. He was in isolation at the time, 23-hour lockdown, which is not constitutional, by the way. And then another twist, the governor's own daughter is the prosecutor on the case. So Joe Lombardo's daughter is a prosecutor on the case. So I would advise anybody out there to look up this case, Dawrin Mota, M-O-T-A, look up this case and sit in and court observe this case, because I think that it will be fascinating to watch. This is Steve Sanson, Stephanie Phillips with Veterans in Politics. We hope that this show has been informative, and stay in touch. This is Steve Sanson. Thank you. Join us every Wednesday night at 6 p.m. Pacific Time, live stream on Facebook.